Welcome to the post-game show here for Cowboy Kingdom's Basketball Zone. And, man, that was something, huh? We definitely saw an up-and-down roller coaster of a game that ended in what can only be described in one word. KANGZ. With a Z, right? That was definitely a rough one to see, a rough one to watch. It was entertaining there in the fourth. You got to give props where props is due. The fact that the Kings kept pushing, and Davion Mitchell post comments saying that that's the identity of this team, that they're not a team that's going to give up, and they definitely didn't give up. They're down by, I believe, as much as 23 points, and brought it to within 3 with 7.4 seconds left. And like I said, that ended with KANGZ. So we're gonna go ahead and break down this game a little bit, look over the box score, give my biggest takeaways from it, and then we'd love to hear from you guys. I think that we're going to leave the phone number in the chat. You guys can conversate with me. Let me see what you guys are thinking after a very, again, I think the best way to describe this game is either roller coaster ride or straight KANGZ. So let's go ahead and just jump right into the box score. And I think the first person we got to talk about, because it seems to be trending all over Twitter right now, at least in front of my Twitter, that's De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox plays 35 minutes tonight. He finishes with 24 points on 8 of 19 shooting. He had 5 assists. He had 4 rebounds, 3 steals. The big one was 3 blocks, but the 5 turnovers were there. And this was a game where you liked bits and pieces of what you saw out of De'Aaron Fox, right? I love that we saw him moving downhill quite a bit in this game, especially in that third quarter while your team is down. In the fourth quarter, your team is down. You're in there with guys like Jameis Ramsey, Metu sighting early, by the way, and you're still out there playing hard. And a big reason why they came back in that fourth quarter was because of the play of De'Aaron Fox. But at the same time, there were a lot of moments in that game where he was forcing a lot of things. This could be also the fact that Halliburton was out, but I don't know if everybody should be just hopping on the it's time to give up on De'Aaron Fox through, what is this, 11 games? That's, again, we guys, pump the brakes. De'Aaron Fox is still a really good basketball player. A week ago we were talking about how he wasn't being aggressive enough. Today, I believe he took a couple 3-pointers. We saw one go in. He looked nice and smooth off of it. Getting it right off the dribble. He had 3 of them. Or no, I'm sorry. He had 1 of them tonight. The only one he took, and it was off the dribble. It looked good. I like that he was being aggressive in this game. Did I like the turnovers? No. Did I like that he had to force it at times? No. But I also think that had to do with the fact that Halliburton wasn't there to take some of the ball handling duties and the distributing out of his hands. That's how big Halliburton is for this team. Moving on now, we'll go ahead and talk about Harrison Barnes. He played, I believe, the most minutes of everyone on the Kings team today. Yep, he played 36 minutes tonight. He shot great, 7 of 9 from the field, 11 from the free throw line. The fact that he got to the free throw line 11 times, Fox got to the foul line 11 times, means you knew that they were in attack mode. Barnes finished with 26 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. Again, turnovers, 6 of them. And that's going to be the biggest takeaway from this game, was the head-shaking, forced on themselves turnovers, right? I mean, those were, I can't even put those, literally threw the Kings down a hole. That's when you saw the Suns go on that 14-0 run to start the third quarter. A game that was within 3 points heading into the third went into a 14 to 20 point lead. It was a lot. Luke Walton says we gave in tonight. I mean, I believe that. I mean, as soon as, and I tweeted it out on Twitter, that the Kings were giving up all of these bonehead turnovers, and that's exactly what they were. And then they kind of just put their head down and were getting very discouraged. And the Suns came out full throttle, blitzing them every time they had the ball. They did not let the Kings set up their defense. They did not allow them to keep up with them. They kept pushing the pace, and they kept the pedal to the metal, man. They kept going full throttle there. Victor Gutierrez says, why would you trade for Ben? I mean, Ben does exactly Ben is exactly what you're looking for when you're trying to start a franchise, Victor. That's basically why. He's a 6'9", 6'10" forward that can handle the ball like a guard and pass. I mean, why wouldn't you trade for Ben? I think would be a bigger question, right? I think the only real debate is what would you be willing to give up for him? Why would you trade for Ben? Because he's a talented player. That's why you would go after him. Buddha Morrison says Harrison gathered the ball in his Euro before Booker was set. That was BS. I think when you look at the overview, that second that he had, he chose to go into Booker rather than taking him on his shoulder. So when you and I believe Katie, I think it was Katie that said it, that when you hit them dead set in the middle, more often than not, it's going to be a charge. So when he does take that Euro, he does have the second to choose: am I going to Euro to the inside, which would be toward the free throw line, or am I going to push out to do that long step and kind of hit Devin Booker in the shoulder? And I think if he would have done that, that would have been the call that would have obviously brought the game to within two, because he would have been going to the free throw line at that point in the fourth. But yeah, man, that was a tough call, but in my personal opinion, they did get it right, and that was a good challenge by the Suns. This game was probably his better offensive game, especially in the fourth quarter. He somewhat looked like last year's Fox. I mean, yeah, the fourth quarter he pushed it. He knew he had to put the team on his back and bring the team back into this game. I definitely agree with you on that part, but it was those turnovers. It was a lot of the forcing. My biggest surprise too, and I gave him a compliment earlier in the game, and I get that the score kind of went away from the Kings and they fought their way back. And we're going to talk about some of that fight here in a minute too, with Metu getting minutes and Jones getting minutes. But I was surprised you didn't see more Buddy in that fourth quarter when the team was finally pushing it back, right? Because then they're down by 3 with 7.4 seconds left, and Buddy didn't touch the floor, I believe, in that fourth quarter at all. And if he did, it was really early. So I'd have to check back on that again, right? But you didn't see it for a long period of time. That's why I asked that question. Again, I tweeted it during the game at VM Center if you guys aren't already following me. But I said, what do you do if you're Luke Walton in that situation? You're down by 3, 7.4 seconds left on the clock. Do you ride with the team that has gotten you to the point where you have a shot at tying this game, at winning this game? Or do you bring in your best shooter? He did bring in his best shooter, but that last possession, man, it was very disorganized. I think it was Metu that the ball got thrown to, and I believe he just got a little too excited, right? He was wide open down there with a littler guy on him and slips out of his hands, gets poked away by Booker, and it's heading toward the sidelines toward Buddy, who was going to just shoot it out of bounds. I mean, question is, should Luke have just challenged it? I don't know if he used this challenge at all. Like, the fact that you should have used it, if you didn't already, I think that's a huge thing, just to not only it gives you a timeout. You're not gonna have much of a timeout anyways, right? You're gonna have to foul for them to get free throws. Why not see if you get lucky that the ball does go the other way, and on top of that, at least you can set up for the foul. So I thought that part was weird because the team, including I believe Buddy, was looking and saying like, let's review it, but they didn't do that. So that was very interesting. Let's go ahead and talk about Metu, right? Just because we're talking about his mess up. He played good, in my opinion. Let's see. Metu played 19 minutes off the bench, all coming in the second half. He finished. I could be wrong. He'd probably gotten in the second quarter, but again, it was an early sighting from Metu. Played 19 minutes. He was 1 for 5 from the field. He only finished with 2 points, but 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. And he was a plus 15 on the game. My biggest takeaway, though, was that to back-to-back possessions, sitting down and defending Chris Paul on back-to-back and key moments in this game. He looked great on that defensive set. And let's take into account that Chris Paul was getting Davion Mitchell finally into foul trouble, right? Davion Mitchell, we haven't seen that from him yet, where he's playing that good of defense and an opponent was able to put him into foul trouble. So we can go ahead and look at Mitchell's stats here. He played actually a really decent game. He was a plus 11 on the day. He was 5 of 11 from the field, 2 for 2 from 3, 12 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, only 2 turnovers, but those 4 personal fouls. And again, that they had to take him off the court for a little bit, and then you saw Terrence Davis, who he played well off the bench to give the Kings a little bit of a spark of that shooting. He did force it at times, though. I'm not going to pretend that he had a great game. He finished with a +1 with 13 points on 5 of 10 shooting. They needed him to be out there and be aggressive, but at times he kind of forced it. But I really enjoyed watching Metu on the floor. I know that the 1 for 5 shooting probably will make people think he didn't have a good game because he only finished with 2 points on 1 for 5. But watching him grab those rebounds, the defense he played late in this game to keep the Kings in it. Again, I go back to defending Chris Paul, making a miss. Chris Paul gets an offensive rebound, batted back to him, gets ISO. Chris Paul calls for the ISO on Metu, and he locks him up again. No foul. He stays big and forces a tough shot for Chris Paul, which he obviously misses, and again gives the Kings the opportunity, which I believe on that same play led to the Harrison Barnes charge. Going back over here, Go Con. What's up, bro? I'm doing good. It was a roller coaster ride of a game. Still digesting it a little bit. Hope you're doing well. Handsy, if Davis is injured, why not take Louis King with you on the road trip? I mean, he did roll his ankle. For those who didn't see it, Davis did roll his ankle a little bit. It was we'll see how severe it is. That is something that we could possibly see. Who knows? Quote here from Davion Mitchell. D. Jones and Chimezi are always the first people in the gym. They're always ready. They're always working on their game, even when they're not playing. Just being ready, staying ready. Like I say that all the time. You got to stay ready to get ready. And we talk about it and I know this is going to be a conversation at some point, knowing this chat about Bagley, but there's going to be moments in this season where there's going to be a number called, whether it's going to be Metu, whether it's going to be Damon Jones. I mean, they're going to call your number, and when it's called, are you going to be ready to step up on the court? And I believe Metu did today. Jones for sure did today with that putback dunk to bring the Kings back to within 5. That was a critical putback that he got. So, and JaVale McGee, he was the only center that was saving the Suns in this game with no Ayton. So, again, that you got to give praise to those guys because those two were huge catalysts in the Kings being able to come back in this game. Obviously, Fox, obviously Barnes, with them getting to the foul line and stopping the clock and still putting up points on the board. But yeah, I mean, I was very impressed with those two guys. I think Buddy was used as a decoy on that last play. I mean, he probably was used as a decoy on that last play. It's why wasn't he in there sooner, though, when you're finally bringing it back, right? When there was 4 minutes left and the Kings brought it to within 6 or 9 or maybe even less, maybe even 5 when there was 4 minutes left. I think it was 9. They decided to still not play him. And I get it. You're riding the hot hand. You're riding that defensive effort. It's so hard, and it's easy to criticize right now that the game is over. Hindsight's always going to be 2020 when the game is over and you're rewatching it and you're thinking about it, like, why wasn't this player in? But yeah, you're probably right. Buddy was used as a decoy. He's the team's best shooter. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. At least they had a chance until they KANGZ'd it up. It's time to move on for Fox, guys. He's been horrendous. He showed some heart tonight, but he's got to go. I'm not on the Fox being moved train, and I feel like a lot of people think I'm on that train because I say I would consider trading Fox for Simmons, which I am. I would highly consider doing that deal. But obviously shooting is still a problem here. Right? I mean, Buddy's the Kings' primary shooter. Davion's knocked down 2 for 2 tonight. I mean, Fox is knocking down 1. It is what it is. I'm just not ready to give up on a guy who, again, averaged 47.7% from the field last season, over 20 points per game, seven assists, and was known as like the fourth quarter guy for this team. Do I believe he is a number one option on most franchise like championship playoff run teams? As of right now, I still don't believe that. No, that's still a no from me. Can he still develop into that? Does he have the talent to do so? Yes, I do think he has the potential to do so. But when you're in Sacramento and you're seeing this team that's been on a 15-year drought, at some point you got to start really considering going after superstars when there's issues in their certain situations. So that again, I don't know if it's necessarily time to move on from Fox. I think he showed a lot of grit today. Today was the fastest I think I've ever seen Fox move this season, for more than just little spurts. Like he was moving downhill a lot, and I liked that from him. And if they can start incorporating that downhill motion for Fox to start doing that when Halliburton's there on the court, I think that, like, obviously, and I think Leo said it not that long ago, the Kings have a Ferrari as a point guard. Stop keeping him in second gear. Kick him into fourth, kick him into fifth. So that's what I'm doing, but that's just me. Who is tonight's MVP? Drop a comment. I want to hear what you guys' MVP was tonight, because you didn't. It could have been almost anybody, right? And you guys, again, the MVP, Medici MVP, Sacramento. Leave your comments. Phone numbers there in the chat. You guys can go ahead and do all that. I'm hearing background noise over there. So, but again, I would think my Medici MVP would be Fox for this game, or Harrison for this game. I'll continue saying it over and over and over again. Harrison Barnes is the Kings' best player this season. He's their most consistent player for the last 2 seasons now, up to this point at least, and I believe he's the most complete player on this team. So that's just my personal opinion. You guys let me know different. Who is your MVP? Who is your Medici MVP? Let's keep going back into the comments here. I love the conversations, guys. I love just going back and forth. You guys make this conversation go longer. So please remember, keep this thing turning. We want more viewers. We want everybody. Hit that like button, hit that share button, and more importantly, hit that subscribe button, because we're continuously putting out new content out all the time. I mean, the fantasy basketball pod that just came out earlier today. I believe Leo did a power rankings video, which was awesome to see as well. So that was really cool. Oh, hey, we got a phone call. What's going on, man?
So, bro, I'm trying to get the camera right. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah, that's all right. That's all right. Get right. Get right. Get ready. How'd you feel about the
What's
Kings
up,
today?
though, bro? How you doing?
I'm
I'm doing
chilling, man.
good,
I'm
bro.
chilling.
Yeah, man, that was a tough one, man. I was starting to debate. I didn't know if we was gonna be the Kings or we was gonna be the Kangs again. You feel me? Like
I feel you.
we
I feel
we
you.
went
Feel you.
we went down 24 or something like that.
Yeah, we were down by 23. I think was the max that we were down. But they did push it back. Fox, I think, put the
We
team on
did.
his back with those other guys. Let me ask you this. And I could be wrong, but I believe this is Buddha. I didn't get to see the name when you called on in.
Yeah, it's me,
I saw
bro.
the Buddha. So I see that you're saying. I believe it's you that's saying it's time to move on from Fox. Why do you think it is time to move on? No,
You didn't say that, brother.
no, no.
I'm a
Okay,
I'm
that's
a
not you.
Fox believer. You feel me? He
Okay,
just
okay, okay.
been.
Uh oh. Having a little bit of technical difficulties right on the climax, guys. Right when we're about to find out. That's the worst part, right? Let's try and get him back on. I want to hear what that's gonna be. I want to hear somebody else's perspective on De'Aaron Fox and what else they're seeing, because you can talk to 4 different people, 5 different people, and I feel like you can get 5 different answers on how good they think De'Aaron Fox is. So if we can get Buddha back on the line, that'd be great. I want to hear what his thoughts are on the Kings. And again, guys, if you guys want to join the chat, we're taking phone calls. Go ahead and click on in. Let me know your name when you jump on in here, and we'll get this conversation going. All right. So let me see, where did I leave off? I don't want to leave off on any questions here. If Davis is injured, it's time to move on from Fox, guys. Oh, it was El Lobo over here. He was locking up Book. Man, that third was embarrassing. This is from Ryan Loof. That third was embarrassing. Think they would have scored a few more points in the third, they would have won that game. I mean, shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? I mean, that third quarter, I really believe it was just those consistent turnovers. Alex Len throwing the ball for a fast break for the Suns. What was that? Uh, a lot of mistakes, a lot of forcing it down low. The offense became very stagnant. Everyone dribbled the ball a little bit too much, try to go into ISO play. I, I really believe it was just their heads got down. They saw that the lead was getting away from them, and the Suns never gave up. They put it down full throttle, but then it completely turned in the fourth quarter when it seemed as if the Suns were going to take off on this team, and and they rested the rest of their guys, and then obviously Fox did what he did. Oh, looks like we got another one. What's going on, bro?
Hey man, I was at that game, dude, and I left a little early because I had a little girl with me and she was falling asleep, man. But that
No,
was
I
embarrassing.
understand that.
I don't hold on, yeah, that was embarrassing, dude. I've never seen any team fall apart like that for it was like 9, 10 straight minutes of just turnovers and missed shots and just reckless ball. It's not that's not playoff standards basketball, and Fox was balling
Well,
out tonight. Barnes was balling out. You know, I think if they would open the lane up a little bit more for Fox, I think he was pressing a little bit. I think.
yeah. Do you think missing Halliburton, it became apparent that he is clearly a much needed piece next to De'Aaron Fox now? Like seeing what Halliburton does with the ball and now not having him for just one game, were you like, okay, being there live, right? Were you saying, did you see it, obviously the need for Halliburton to be on
I
the court?
I think we needed Halliburton's energy that game. Like Halliburton's always good for a good steal and a dunk or just like shot up the floor and quick 2 points. Something to get
Yeah.
the energy back. That wasn't there, man. I mean, give it to the rookie, man. He played good too, and he locked up Booker all night and Chris Paul. But man, it's
That
just,
third quarter
it's
was
just a
rough.
bad.
That third quarter was rough.
And I get in the car and I hear it's 107 to 104, and I'm like, what? No way, dude. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Family
bad.
first though.
And
You saw that lead. You had the baby. It's understandable.
yeah, and you know what? And the Kings deserve to get booed today, man. I was booing them too. They needed to hear it. They needed to hear that. The fans wasn't with it. We weren't with it. We didn't like the energy. We didn't like the drive. It was garbage, and they needed to know it. So
Hey, look, man, I appreciate you calling in. I appreciate those takes. I will say this though, right? This was the first time we got to see the Kings really get blown out this season, and in the middle of a game. But they did not give up. You do have to give them credit for that. They were down 23 heading into the fourth quarter. We saw we almost thought it was the white flag time, right? The only reason why we saw Mitchell and Fox really back on the court was exhaustion for Mitchell because they couldn't bring in Halliburton, and
yeah,
they brought in Jameis Ramsey because they needed to give some time, but then they had
and
to
we
bring Mitchell right back because of the Davis injury.
and we know Bagley's done now too. Like that boy ain't gonna see the court. Like if he didn't see the court tonight, he's not gonna see it, man. Like, or
I
when else
mean,
are you gonna
I,
put him in?
I mean, I don't know. I think Davion probably said it best in his post game where it's been rumored around. Metu and Jones are always the first people in the gym. They're always working. And Metu has been a guy through this entire offseason, has been showcasing his work, showcasing what he's been doing in the Olympics and making sure that he stayed ready. Because look, there was going to be a position battle between him and Bagley for that power forward spot. Whether people want to believe in that or not, just because Bagley was picked number 2 doesn't mean you're guaranteed any role. You're going to be judged on the play that you put on the court. And Leo loves saying this all the time, but the best ability is availability. And we haven't got to see much of him through the time that Bagley has been in a Kings uniform. So again, I
A
like that we
difference.
saw Metu. I just think Bagley will get an opportunity at some point, and if not, he he is where he is. And I was still glad to see that he was up out of his seat cheering on for his team, because that could be another storyline that we could be talking about, but we're
Yeah,
not. So
that was
the distraction was only that one game.
that was looking like it might be a storyline too, because I thought I read something about that the other day about how he was just kind of like lethargic on the bench and stuff. So, all right, man.
I haven't. I appreciate the call, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't seen any. I haven't seen Bagley be a problem on the bench at all, and I've been watching Bagley on the bench quite a bit. You know what I mean? Like just to see if he's screaming, seeing if he's up high fiving the team, telling them good job. And every time I look at that bench, he's one of the guys up screaming. From everyone I've talked to that's been covering the practices, he's a guy that's still working hard. He's doing his runs. He's showing up to practice. He's being a true professional. A lot of this stuff that you're hearing about, while it is true, it's mainly story from outside of Bagley, outside of the locker room. So he's not necessarily being the distraction inside. And that's something that you have to be happy about, right? Like the only real thing that we've been hearing from the Bagley situation is you guys in the chat and on Twitter, people wondering, why aren't the Kings playing him? Why aren't the Kings playing him? That's the real noise we're hearing. It's not really any more of the drama other than that first game when his agent came out and said they wish that he would have been traded, which again, it's true. They probably do wish they would have been traded, but taking that shot obviously was not the right choice, in my opinion, for him to do that. So it is what it is. Again, guys, I appreciate these phone calls. Keep coming them on in. Introduce yourself when you're in here, and let's keep trying to keep this conversation going. You know what I mean? So as I move back onto the chat over here, that was an embarrassing third. That was from Ryan. And what's the deal with Bagley? He was benched for good. I mean, like I said, man, it's a thing. Fox for Ingram trade ASAP. I mean, Ingram, we haven't even seen him really play this year, right? I mean, he played in those few games. He hurt his hip. I believe he's missed 7 straight games. He's I agree that Ingram's a really good player. It's I don't know if I would necessarily do that deal. I like Brandon Ingram. The injury concerns really scare me, though. Fox career heading in the direction of Reggie Jackson, Brandon Knight, Andrew Wiggins, and Tyreek Evans. Man, a lot of people love bringing up these types of names. I really don't think it's going to be the Brandon Knight situation. Brandon Knight, he was a really good player at times. Really good. He was a good player at times. De'Aaron Fox has... I truly believe you guys are just forgetting how good he was because of this early 11 games. Like, guys, we're 11 games into the season. We're still at the beginning stage. We've only taken a step forward. Let's let them build up a pace a little bit. Let's see what this team can really do. We're seeing his game get a little bit better in each one. Today was, like I said, the fastest I think I've seen Fox move in a game this season. He was moving downhill quite a bit. I love that part of his offense is when he's being able to move downhill. That mid-range shot is becoming something that is a real threat on a night-to-night basis. Obviously, and I've been saying it since the offseason and last season, the development of that three-point shot is going to be where Fox makes it or breaks it as that real all-star type of player, right? So we'll see how that becomes. I'm not ready to put him in the Reggie Jackson, Brandon Knight, Andrew Wiggins, Tyreek Evans. And whoever says on my Twitter again that he's Dennis Schroeder, I'm gonna laugh at you, bro. It's like, stop. Bryant Strauss says Kings need to go 3-1 on this road trip, with the opponents on the upcoming schedules being the Spurs, Thunder, Pistons, and Timberwolves. Yeah, so I definitely think the Kings have a good chance of winning in these next few games. You got Spurs, Thunder, Pistons, Timberwolves. That Spurs game is definitely going to be tough. The Pistons are being interesting, and the Timberwolves, they got bite to them. So it's not going to be as easy as you think, but we got Buddha back. What's up, bro? You left me on a
Yeah, your
climax
fault, bro.
last
My
time you
phone
hear
died on
pause.
y'all, man. Your fault. I wasn't ready.
I'm glad you found the
I
charger.
went down to the Mitchell tonight. I went staying ready. I wasn't on go, but I'm back now. But what I was
So
saying
go ahead.
was,
Yep.
I ain't ready to trade Fox yet. I believe in him still. Like, and I mean, everybody had their struggles and stuff like that. Dame was having his struggles. Westbrook having his struggles. So his team's having struggles. You just got to stick it out with him for real. And to be honest, Fox, he's a dog, like straight dog. And we don't really need the 25 every night because, like, we got other players that can score. We got Barnes that can give you 25 a night. We got Holmes, he can snap for you. Like, Buddy is back, yo. Elite Buddy is back. I'm glad to see it, yo. Cause
Were you
like
frustrated
I
that
feel
he
like
didn't
last
see
year.
much minutes in the fourth?
I mean, I went mad because you got to rock with what's going. Because if it's not broke, don't fix it. You feel me? And Metu and Jones, I feel like they really earned time because they was really going hard. And basically, we didn't get to see Jones all year, and he just stepped right in, and he looked like he belonged. So it was good seeing that. Definitely.
Yeah, I was interested to see what the Kings were gonna do with that Jones situation because when I saw Jones come in, I was like, wow, I really thought it was gonna be a Bagley time. I really thought they were waving the white flag when we saw Ramsey come into the game
Yeah, right.
with Metu and Jones, and you're like, okay, this might be a white flag moment, but it was good to see Fox take over in that let's go role. But I will say this, I kind of disagree with you. You do need Fox to be that guy that averages 25 on your team at a minimum if he's going to be your franchise centerpiece that's going to take a team like the Kings to the playoffs. Because the Phoenix Suns just proved it. There's levels still to be made with this Kings team, and they're just not on a playoff level yet. And I think they're on the brink of being there. It's just these last few games, their fourth quarter execution, and I still think their confusion on what type of offense they're truly running is where they're gonna have to figure out how do we get to that level.
Okay. I mean, like you say you don't agree, but I feel like it's so many offensive options we got. So like, we really don't need them to like score 25. We just need them to be efficient. Like, don't be turning the ball over. Don't be taking crazy threes, pull ups. Like, just take your time. Do the catch and shoot threes, like while you set, and then you can do the pull ups and stuff like that. Like, I mean, just take baby steps. But like I said, I ain't giving up on Fox yet. It's been 11 games. That's a nice sample size, but I can't just give up on him yet. He's been that guy for us for how long? So let's just keep believing in him. Give him a little bit more time. I mean, don't jump off the bridge yet. I think we're gonna be all right. Just keep
Right.
playing that defense. Just keep playing that defense. We're gonna be good.
Yeah, for sure, man. Coach Jeff Van Gundy said it best. Give a player 20 games before you start making a real judgment. Give a player 20 games, and we're only
Right, right.
11 games in. And I think Bryant brought up a big thing here. It's that upcoming schedule, and I'll leave you with this one. We'll talk about this for just a minute here. The Kings got Spurs, Thunder, Pistons, and Timberwolves on this upcoming road trip.
Mhm.
How disappointed would you be if they finished off, let's say, 2-2?
Nah, I'd be mad because you're supposed to you gotta execute. If you want to make the playoffs, these are the games you gotta win. The bottom barrel teams, you gotta eat off of them. Like the games like this is the games you can kind of like understand. Like you lost to the Suns, one of the top teams last year, but you lose to the Timberwolves. I mean, to be honest, the Timberwolves good. They got a lot of talent. So, but
They gave up
you
another
if you
lead
want to be,
today.
you gotta.
Yeah, yeah.
But
All right, man. I appreciate the call, man. That's I appreciate the takes. I
no doubt,
appreciate
bro.
you. Have a good night, man. So let's keep on moving down to the chat over here. We got Zach Hayford says, "Buddy should have been in the last 5 minutes. Period. 2 games in a row." And I don't necessarily disagree with you. It's just it's so easy to say that now when the game's over and the Kings lose. Best shooter in the game, but at the same time, the hot hand was rolling. They came back from 23 down with what was on the court, and as Buddha said, what ain't broke, don't fix it. And it wasn't broken in that moment. So I I agree and I disagree. I'm on the fence. uh Hansi Hernandez says, "Chill, Lobo. The disrespect." I don't know what the Lobo probably is the trade Fox thing, right? Victor says, "If you're gonna trade Fox, I don't think it should be for Simmons. I would rather see Tatum." Well, I would rather see Tatum as well, but that's not happening. The Celtics know what they have. If I truly believe if the Celtics had to break up the Tatum Brown tandem, they're gonna part ways with Brown. Tatum's just shown way too much. He's got a full bag. I mean, I think Brown's. I mean, those two are so. I don't. Whew, I couldn't tell you that, man. Here's the reason why. I hate that we keep talking about the Simmons trade. The reason why I would consider trading the Fox for Simmons is the shooting that gets to stay around. around him if that trade were ever to happen, right? Like think of a starting lineup of it's Tyrese, Buddy, Barnes, Simmons, and Holmes. I mean that's pretty dang good. So that's why I would consider it. You still get another ball handler in Simmons that can do exactly, if not better, driving to the paint and finishing like Fox can in Simmons with a bigger body. I just love that the defensive guards 1 through 5. But let's try and stay off the Simmons things for a little while, okay, guys? Let's try and talk about the team, or maybe we can even talk about other games. Like for all I care, I mean the NBA has been a lot of fun, guys. So keep on moving down here. Henzy says I ain't disrespecting, blah blah blah. It says Ryan Who says, and why is Harkless still starting? I mean, I think Javi said it best, man. Who are you going to start in place of him? I mean, Metu showed promise. Are you going to just automatically jump to Metu after a 19-minute span and some good defensive possessions on Chris Paul? We saw the Terrence Davis start, and I'll be honest, Terrence Davis is if he's not hot and rolling, you gotta take him out of the game. Like he's he's a lot of energy, and sometimes you need it, and sometimes you don't. So as of right now, I think Harkless is the best option. That's just my personal opinion. What's going on, bro? What's your name?
Oh, this is Seabass.
Oh,
Sorry, I'm
what
trying
up,
to get my
Seabass?
camera
What
right
up,
here.
bro? I
I
heard you've
guess
been
I'm not
wanting to
going to get
talk
it
to me,
right,
bro.
but there we go. That's probably the best I
Perfect.
could do.
You're looking good, man. You're looking good. You're looking solid. Nice beard.
All right. Hey, I told you the other day that I'm like your number one fan here.
Oh, appreciate you. Appreciate you.
Yeah. So we should I need to get I don't know if you're on IM or anything, but we should do like our own show, like the two of us or something like that. Because I think you're the most level-headed guy in Cowbell Kingdom. Me and your other guys there, we have ridiculous arguments. You know what some of our arguments are? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I want to hear what it is you're gonna say. I'll be honest. Look, I've heard that you guys go back and forth a little bit on the
Yeah,
Fox thing and playing four
right.
bigs or something like that. So go ahead.
Yeah.
Let me hear your takes.
Let-
We're here. You
I
know,
want to talk about that.
let's have a therapy session here. Let's see what's happening,
Let's
guys.
have a
I'm ready
therapy.
to hear about it.
I've been wanting to have this with you for some time because I know you're like the most level-headed guy there. But
Let's
before
see
we
what
get
happens.
into that, I want to introduce it by by letting you know what I think are the most ridiculous things that they've said that they won't admit to that are wrong. Are the simple factual things like the heights of players. What's his Leo Javier says that Holmes is 6'11", and Leo Bias says that Halliburton is 6'7". Nowhere are those guys listed at those heights, and we have to sit and argue about that. Is that the most ridiculous thing in the world, or what? And what I offer them are the heights from the combine, where they actually, literally, properly, scientifically measure them, not just their height without their shoes, their height with their shoes, their wingspan, their standing reach, all of that stuff, their hand size. That's where they do the actual measurements. I give them those measurements, and then they come back to me and say, no, that's like all wrong. I'm like, what the hell? How am I supposed to argue with some people like that? Look, in the combine, Rashawn Holmes, he was 6'8.5" without shoes, 6'9.5" with shoes. I'd say he's a 6'9" player. Everywhere Halliburton is listed as 6'5". He's not listed as 6'7" anywhere. Oh, and Leo says that Fox is 6'5". Fox is 6'2.5" without his shoes, and I think 6'3", 6'4" with his shoes. So I don't know why we have to even have these silly arguments, and then they blame it on me, saying that I don't do my homework and do my research. Well, I do my homework and research, and nowhere ever is Halliburton listed as 6'7". He's listed as 6'5". Anyways,
So
but do you see the stuff that I have to put up?
Holmes is 6'10". I'll give him that one. Holmes is 6'10".
6'9" and a
Fox
half.
Holmes is 6'10". I will give him that one. Fox is 6'3", 6'4" on a good day. I will give him
Yeah,
that one.
yeah.
And I believe
So I'm
Tyrese is
right.
6'5", and Tyrese is 6'5". That is
Yeah,
real. So,
thank
but
you. Can you
I've count.
can you straighten out your coworkers there?
However, I will say that
However,
I have I have come out and told them multiple times whenever I hear that Halliburton is a 3, can guard threes, that it's not true. So yes, in that moment,
And
that is true.
and that's where at that one day I was saying, yes, 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 Javier, you're right. I'm saying like none of these 3 or 4 guard lineups usually could guard the opposing team's small forward. I'm not a big
So let me
fan
ask you
of the
this though.
3. Yeah,
So with that being said, you look at this Kings roster, okay? So let's look at the Kings
right.
roster. Their
Yeah,
best lineup is when they go small. Whether it's the right choice or not, the bigs and how they're going to play. Obviously, you just saw it today with Alex Len not really being able to pass the ball even off the high post if he loses his
right.
dribble. Rashawn Holmes is pick roll. He's their best defender in terms of a big man. Tristan Thompson's just going to be jumping around everywhere, going crazy. So it's like I I I I don't know what else you're really expecting this team to do. Saying that they should start bigger would put them in a bigger hole
Yes,
because that doesn't already play to their strengths. So that's
I
why they're
strongly.
I understand their side of the argument
Yeah,
saying
but
you can't keep playing
I
the casual lineups.
Yeah, but I have to disagree with that for many reasons. Now, the one reason that's very blatant to everybody, and that a million people besides me are seeing in all the chat rooms, is noticing that, and Mackard Slim, I don't know if you know him, he's a guy in the chat rooms, and we all were looking at yesterday's game about the Pacers game, how they're playing Turner and Sabonis, and we don't have the guys to match up against them. And then also against the Utah game. We got out rebounded by 21, 59-38 that game. And in the
Do you
Pacers
give
game,
credit?
I
Do you
think
give
the first half we got out rebounded 30-15. So you could talk small ball lineup all you want, but anybody who knows anything in the NBA knows that if you're being out rebounded by over 20 rebounds a game, that is the first thing you've got to address. And you just got to say no to those lineups. You got to try
okay? So
something else.
so let's
And
start.
that's
Let's start
one
with the first.
problem. Amongst other problems, that's one
I'm gonna
major problem, rebounding.
this is
That's
a
one
quick little
major problem.
this is a quick little therapy session. So let's address that one now.
Sure,
Let's
sure.
address this one first.
Yeah,
With
yeah,
the Jazz game, this one's easy. Rudy Gobert is a top tier center, top tier, top of
yeah,
the line. You
yeah.
cannot discuss that.
Sure.
So, but that lineup that the Jazz run is a small ball lineup with Rudy Gobert being their only center, just like Rashawn Holmes is the Kings' only true center, right? And they just run the same exact thing with Hassan Whiteside in the back, where the Kings' backup is Alex Len or Tristan Thompson, which again, that's kind of a wish wash. I mean, we saw what Hassan Whiteside did here. Now you're bringing up the Indiana Pacers. The Indiana Pacers are one of those rare teams that have the ability to play the two bigs. You don't see that very often anymore, right? In the league,
Right,
it's a lot of one big man
right.
and a lot of more small. Even the Denver
Yep,
Nuggets, right? Aaron
right.
Gordon. But
Sure.
the reason why that made the Pacers so interesting and so hard to guard, and why it's so hard to rebound against that team, you have Miles Turner that is a big that can shoot the three ball. He's basically everything Alex Len wishes he was. And then you have Domantas Sabonis, which is the Jokic of the East. He is that good. Him or Bam are the Jokic of the East, and I've been giving it to Sabonis. I'm a really big fan of him, even though I think Bam is the better player. So those two matchups are really tough. I do agree with you, though. The Kings' rebounding has been horrendous. I think that they're trying to improve on it by having the guards crash. But again, my counter to all of that is you look at this Kings roster, as much as you would like to see that type of lineup, there's nothing on this team that I would trust to say this is a big lineup that I would be comfortable seeing the Kings run with the type of players that they have around them. So their best lineup to attack that type of situation is to still go small, in my opinion.
Right, but let's go back, rewind a little bit here. So the thing is, I see what you're saying, but the thing is, at the end of the day, it still doesn't matter. You're going to lose if you're being out rebounded by 20. The chances of you winning are very small. You've got to re-examine things, and you've got to you've got to do something about it. Let's go back to the Jazz game where you say it's a small ball lineup. I kind of question that, or small lineup, because you say you have Ruby, Gobert, and then whatever four you put. But the
Bojan
thing is,
Bogdanovic.
if their center and their backup center are getting all the rebounds, you got to do something about it. You can't
I
just.
agree.
What
That I agree
what
with.
does that say to be? What does that say to just say like, oh, well, he's just a legitimate center, the best center in the NBA, or one of the best, top 5 or 3, whatever. And then he's surrounded by 4 smaller guys. Well, you can't just go small and say, well, they got a better center. No, you gotta do something about it. You gotta put some size to counteract that. You gotta put some rebounders
brother,
in.
I'm not even disagreeing with you in that aspect, right? I
Right.
said the Kings rebounding is horrendous. Like, it's bad. It's been bad all season. Even when the games that they've been close and that they've won, I truly believe that their rebounding has been very poor. They are consistently looking to push, which is, again, going back to their small ball lineup. My counter to that is going to consistently be, what other players do you trust to be on the court on this roster? You can say we need to go get something, but running a lineup where it's Tristan Thompson and Rashawn Holmes with De'Aaron Fox, and we're already all complaining about the spacing and the shooting, what are you going to do there then offensively?
Right.
And defensively, what are they going to be able to stop?
But here's the thing.
You got to just look at what the players that they currently have.
Right. But the thing is, to me, you just can't have that happen. You're talking about the small ball lineup and shooting and all these other things when you have a much larger problem, and that's being out rebounded by over 20. When you're being out rebounded by
how would you address it? How would you address it? How would you address it?
So, this is how I think the Kings should go. I'm not a fan of the 2-3 guard lineup unless that third guard or whatever is, like a Tony Allen or a good rebounder, good forward kind of guy. I think we got to pick 2 guards. Whoever they are, I actually like what you just said a few minutes ago. Fox for Simmons, and we were Halliburton and Hield in the backcourt, and Barnes, Simmons, Holmes in the front court.
But
that's definitely an improved lineup. That's definitely
we don't have that now.
We don't have that. Okay, we don't have that.
So I'm asking you,
but I would endorse that.
Let
me just say I would endorse that lineup.
I would consider it. I would consider it.
I would endorse it in the sense that it's better than what we have now. It would be better rebounding. It would be better offense. I don't know if that would take us to the promised land, like beating the Lakers and the Bucks, but it would be an improved
How about just making the playoffs? It would make the playoffs. It would give you the best chance. It could potentially give you the best chance of making the playoffs, which is all that matters when you're in a 15-plus year drought.
Yeah, in a sense, but I always think that the Kings should look into any NBA team should set up their rosters so that they could beat the best teams. But anyway, as we have it now, it's like that. It's I like we could go Halliburton, Hield in backcourt. You're definitely going to play Barnes and Holmes, and then you need to pick a 5th player. But if that 5th player is guard, we're going to have not every night, because there was one night, where when Rashawn Holmes got 20 rebounds against the Hornets or whatever, where it worked. But that was one many more often than not that hasn't worked, and so. You got to pick a big. You got to pick somebody. It's either Harkless or Metu, or you could go. I suggested Lennon Holmes, center and power forward, but whatever. I just don't think you could put that guard, because if you put that guard in, and you notice throughout the game, see that game against the Pacers, we should have made adjustments at halftime because we were out rebounded 30-15 in like a quarter or two. That at that point you got to make halftime adjustments. Okay, so even let's say we started with a small lineup, a 3-4 guard lineup. When you see you're being out rebounded 30-15, your coaching staff has got to make changes at halftime, and got to say they got to switch things around and realize they got Turner and Sabonis, and we couldn't match that, and they had to go big. You have to. You either win with your bigs or forget it, because the 3-guard, 4-guard lineup has rebounding at too many disadvantages. I know the Kings have this nice fast pace with a 3-4 guard lineup, and you have good ball movement and shooting and all that stuff, but there's a bigger problem that needs to be addressed, and that's rebounding and defense. And that's just not working with a small lineup.
Well, I appreciate your call, man. I'm glad we got a little bit of a therapy session in here. You know what I mean, man? We got to keep going down the chat a little bit. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Feel free to keep calling in again.
Yeah, definitely. Let's connect on Instant Messenger or something, whatever you have. Do you have
I
Twitter or
have
instant message?
I have Twitter. You can add me at VM Center. I am more than welcome to continue any conversation on there as well. Feel free to
Yeah.
add me, bro. Yep, feel free to add me, my
I
man.
also
But
I sent a message to Cowbell Kingdom, but I haven't gotten a response back. But I'll
gotcha,
go ahead
gotcha.
and send a message to Cowbell Kingdom.
There you go, brother. Again,
Okay.
thank you so
All
much
right.
for calling
Okay.
in.
Yep.
Hopefully
Thank you.
we address
Bye.
some of those things. That was a lot of fun. Uh, a lot to dive in there. I don't know if I truly got the answer to how would you fix it. Maybe he said the Len and Holmes. I truly don't believe that works on this team. That was very interesting. That was a lot of fun. I don't. I'll be honest with you though, Bass. I don't think me doing another podcast is something I can fully take on right now. More. I guess I'll announce. I mean, I'll be with CK full time here for the next season at least, and as long as Leo will continue to have me, So podcast, everything will be on here. I got more content coming out. I have a video that I just worked on recently that I hope comes out here soon. But yeah, I appreciate the offer. Again, I like talking Kings basketball all day long at VM Center at Cowbell_Kingdom on Twitter. Instagram. You guys keep checking us out. I appreciate these post game shows. I did not expect that call. So that was a lot of fun, man. But yeah, like I said, I don't know if we really addressed what was going to be the true fix, because I really don't believe you can run an Alex Len, Rashawn Holmes offense, especially after what we saw Rashawn Holmes do today. But there's the rebounding. It has been horrible. The rebounding has been horrible. You can't deny that. And I'll finish off here. It looks like we are running lower on the comments, so I want to try and get through all these as much as possible. I thank you guys so much for all the comments, all the support that you guys are giving this channel. Again, one more time, keep this thing circulating. Remember to like this video, share this video, and most importantly, hit that subscribe button. And to stay up to date with all of our content, hit that bell so you can get notified every time something new does come out. Again, we had the rookie rankings today that Leo put out. We also had a brand new fantasy show that just came out, which I enjoyed quite a bit. You guys need to definitely go check that out if you guys are fantasy basketball heads. I am one as well. I worked at Hoop Ball with AB over there doing a lot of fantasy basketball. So who knows? Maybe I can do a video with that guy. So again, rate, review, subscribe to the podcast, and again, obviously like, share here. Vince, one day Fox will be a good role player like Andrew Wiggins. Again, I'm not gonna go down that road. I mean, possibly you could be right. I'm not gonna say you're wrong, but at this moment, I'm just going to disagree. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I think De'Aaron Fox has still so much potential, and we are just overreacting to 11 games and not just remembering how good he was just last season. And the Kings, guys, I believe what were 2 games. We're 5-6, 5-7. We're 2 games under 500 with now a road trip with very capable wins looking forward. Right? The team is still playing at a reasonable rate. This is what you want to see from a team that's growing. Fox, I think, looked his best offensively today and defensively. He had some big defensive stops there in that fourth quarter. So I'm not ready to go down that road. And we can keep debating that all you guys want to, but I'm really big on Fox still. I'm not going to just say it's time to move on. He's the next Tyreek. I think that's crazy to me. I believe Fox is starting to get used to his body. I think he's going to break out here in the next few games. He's definitely going to have that potential, right? Definitely going to have that potential with the Suns and the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves, man, Ja Morant is ridiculous. Karl Anthony Towns from half court to tie the game and then to lose it like that in overtime. Ugh, man, is Karl Anthony Towns going to just be that new KG for Minnesota, where it's just such a good talent on that Minnesota team, but they're just never able to take that real next step. I feel bad for that guy. I really do think he's one of the best bigs in the game. I love Karl Anthony Towns, but Ja is just, he's something else. But that's a game where the defense at the guard spot, De'Aaron Fox could have a killer game there. I'm excited to see the Spurs game, right? We've already been seeing it a lot of DeJounte Murray versus De'Aaron Fox. Who would you rather have? That intrigues me. So see what that is. Calling in, blah, blah, blah. At least Fox showed heart tonight. Do you think the Kings should get him a full-time shooting coach? I mean, I think his shot looks fine. It's just not dropping. I don't know. And who says there's not one there already? You know what I mean? So to that, I say, sure. I think it's just more confidence, and once it starts to fall, I mean, shoot or shoot. You just gotta shoot that thing. I say that all the time. Shoot that thing. But he's still got butter fingers though. He's best at it as a catch and shoot. Look, I really thought in that first half, his ball handling saved this team from being down way more. He was making plays in a pick and roll. He was catching and shooting off those Alex Len screens. He was making the right pass on his little driving kicks. Buddy looked good for a lot of this game. And I'm not blaming him on all the turnovers. Yeah, he does have butterfingers. There was a few Buddy blunders, but there was a lot of KANGZ in this game. So I'm not blaming it on any one person. I thought Buddy actually had a really good first half. And again, hindsight's 2020. He should have been on the court for more points in that fourth, but when the game is going, it's moving so fast, you're making a comeback. Why go away from what's getting you there? So I don't know. I thought Buddy had a good game. If I'm Vivek or McNair, I get Fox a full-time shooting coach. Again, maybe. Buddha agree. Fox needs to get efficient, not too many turnovers, not bad three-pointers. I agree. The shots just need to be smarter. I want to see him definitely in those corners. Stop missing shots. Bass Metu just needs to get up to speed. He's light years faster than Metu. I mean, I think Metu definitely showed out today. I want to see what he does. Mo Harkless. I'm just getting tired of it. Venture doing great. Venture the best. I appreciate that, Bass. Appreciate you, bro. Turnovers. We cannot win this year with how many turnovers the Kings continue to have. It's a complete joke of how soft this team is with the ball. Look, especially today, and more importantly, in the fourth quarter. Man, it's those are the big headache ones, right? Like you're fighting this whole game. You're in it with a chance to win, and you just have these moments where you're putting yourself in a hole, or you're putting yourself against the wall, and you're stuck, and you have to then outperform what you were already doing, which got you either into the lead or to this game, where if you just stayed consistent, you wouldn't really have this headache. So yes, I agree with you. Turnovers are an issue. Hopefully that does come down a little bit. There's this thing about this offense where the first 5 games, I felt like they were playing really slow, only trying to play half court sets. These last 5 games or so, I feel like they've been really trying to pick it up a little bit. The ball movement at times looked great. Like the play that they ran in that fourth where Fox drove, kicked it out to Metu. Metu then drove and swung it out to Harrison Barnes for the corner 3 that went in. I thought that was one of my favorite plays throughout the entire game. So there's times where the offense looks good, time where the offense looks bad. It could just be an adjustment period while they're, again, getting used to Halliburton now being in the starting lineup, Harkless now being in the starting lineup. 11 games. Let's continue to see. There's still only 2 games under 500. They got a nice road trip ahead of them where they can get some big wins. We'll see how that goes. Move on to the next one. Buddha says, Cat was my first pick in the fantasy eating. Rubio has been my number 1 steal of the year. Heck yeah, man. I picked him up. Someone dropped him. I picked him up on waivers. And unfortunate news, but good news for my fantasy team. Colin Sexton did get hurt with I believe it was a partially torn meniscus. That's rough, man. So definitely a keep. I chose Damian Lillard over Cat with mine, but yeah, I bet your team is looking pretty dang good right now. Those are some nice picks. Here's what's stupid. Our margin of error is so small that the Kings are 5th in the best in NBA in turnovers, but comes at the worst possible times. Yeah, like I said, that's the headache part of it, right? It's that it's always in the fourth quarter. And I believe points off of turnovers is like the Kings are like high up there. Like they give up the most points off turnovers, even though they're 5th in turnovers. And Katie Hunter brought it up during the telecast today, where it's like it's not just about the number of turnovers, but it's about the type of turnovers. And I thought that's 100% true, because the type of turnovers they're giving up are easy points for their opposing team. So that's disappointing to watch. Leo says, I don't know basketball. Bro, this is, I mean, I appreciate your tight take, bro. But I mean, like, come on now, a little bit of respect. Well, I mean, he knows basketball too. I mean, I'm giving you his point of view as well as listening to yours. It's like a kind of give and take situation. And honestly, the thing about the Kings is they don't have the roster to do technically what you're saying just yet. So that's where we're having this like in between. So yeah, maybe the Kings should go and look to get that 4 that you're saying, but they don't have it right now. So their best chance to win is to keep playing the small ball. And I think that's what Leo's been trying to say, is to keep doing it that way. And I don't want to speak for anybody, but I'm just assuming. But that's, again, I am all about the Kings just trying to get good wins, bro. When Tyrese doesn't play, you're going to have more turnovers. I mean, the Kings were having turnovers when Tyrese was playing, so I don't know if that's 100% true, but I get what you're saying because he is a good ball handler and high IQ. What would you say about a possible Marvin Bagley for Jalen Smith trade? Marvin Bagley for anybody right now that can play a significant role on the, not even a significant role, but just a respectable role off that bench, I think is worth looking into. Getting some type of asset back. Respect. Love all that this throws at me. Right, the Kings don't have the power forward they want, but all right, I think we've definitely run out our chapter, guys. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. This has been a very fun post-game show. Dang, I stayed up till 11. I didn't expect to stay on for this long. We thought initially this was only going to be 20 minutes, so this is a lot of fun. Remember, guys, subscribe to this channel, share it, like it, all that good stuff. My name was Vince Miracle. You guys can follow me on all social media platforms of @VM Center, @Cowbell_Kingdom on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. Shout out to our sponsors, Medici, Sacramento, and Valley Tires, guys. Just love the support. Thank you all for coming out here, man. And again, we'll see you on the next one. Peace.